Hello, everybody. My name is John Crawford, and I'm here with the Living Systems Collaboratory Spotlight session. And it's my great pleasure to introduce one of our Living Systems Collaboratory artists, Casey House. And Casey will be giving us a presentation today on his work in the Living Systems Collaboratory. Casey is a graphic designer, musician, and artist living in Ashland, Oregon. He's deeply inspired by ancient history and archaeology, including megalithic architecture. He's documented many archaeological sites throughout the Middle East, Europe, and Scandinavia, Southeast Asia, and Peru. He's a student of synergetics and the work of Buckminster Fuller, and he's created hundreds of infographics, diagrams, and art pieces that educate on Fuller's discoveries. So wonderful transdisciplinary work, Casey. It's so great to have you with us. And I'll start your presentation here, and looking forward to your presentation, Casey. Take it away. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, John. Hello, everyone. My name is Casey House, and I'll be doing a presentation of a project I've been working on called Synergetics University. I'd first like to thank everybody involved in the Design Science Studio, the Buckminster Fuller Institute, habRitual, and the Living Systems Collaboratory for their consistent inspiration, support, and company through this very interesting time in human history. Working alongside you all has given me deep hope in humanity as I've witnessed our availability for transformation and learning. And it's truly a gift to know that I'm not alone in this journey of consideration, integrity, and innovation. Synergetics University, also known as SENU, is a project that I've been working on for the last 4 to 5 years. Today, I'll be guiding you through the website for it that I am currently hosting on my personal portfolio. You can follow along with this presentation by scrolling through the page simultaneously if you would like. And I recommend that you use a computer rather than a phone, as there's a lot to see and experience that's only available on a desktop. So if you visit casey-house.com or sen-u.com and click on the tab that says SENU, when you go to those websites, you'll see this, and you just want to scroll down to the SENU tab and click there. And that's where we'll be exploring today. All right, so one of the first things you'll encounter is that, and visiting the site, is this coming soon message. And I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of this presentation. As we scroll, we then come across a quote from Bucky that says, "I seem to be a verb, an evolutionary process, an integral function of the universe." And this has been one of my many considerations in creating SENU, that the oftentimes overlooked reality that we are each nodes in an evolutionary process. I've continually returned to this project as an inquiry into how I can encourage conscious participation in our evolutionary processes and become stewards of health and wealth for all living beings on the planet. So what is SENU? Well, as of right now, it is a multimedia education experience in design science, synergetics, and the works of Buckminster Fuller, being developed and periodically updated as I speak. We facilitate conversations and educational experiences that catalyze humanity's intelligent and considerate participation in Earth's ecosystems. Richard Buckminster Fuller was an American architect, inventor, polymath, and designer that lived from 1895 to 1983. Bucky, as he is lovingly called, had a lifelong interest in modeling nature's coordinating system and creating a comprehensive design revolution in service to a world that works for 100% of all life. His books, Synergetics 1 and 2, are regarded by many as two of the most important books of the last century, and yet they have become increasingly hard to find in any library or bookstore. With this in mind, SENU builds necessary bridges into the study of synergetics, and translates the important work into modern and youthful assets for learning. Synergetics itself is a comprehensive approach to design that models nature's integrity, patterns, and studies the generalized principles of life in universe. As you can see in this rollover, synergy is the behavior of whole systems unpredicted by the parts taken separately, and synergetics is nature's coordinate system. Over the span of nearly 1,500 pages, Synergetics 1 and 2 gives a foundational exploration of the shape of space. Through geometric diagrams, eclectic prose, and scientific rigor, Bucky encourages us to consider the idea that we could generate progressively more life support using progressively less resources while operating in accordance with nature's efficient design parameters. Skimming ahead, we come to some of the features of learning that this web page provides. I've begun to see how interactive web pages like this can be good educational tools with many of the diagrams I've made. It is important for me to create an educational experience that is not only insightful, but also fun and beautiful. In this section, we discover that the tetrahedron is a primary model for integrity. I'll leave most of this for you to explore on your own, but for now, take my word for it that tetrahedron is a model of integrity. Appropriately then, SENU can be visualized as 4 spheres of offering that form a tetrahedron. These spheres are an online course, a textbook, a resource library, and artifacts like toys, jewelry, etc. For the Living Systems Collaboratory put on by habRitual and UC Irvine, I focused on the online course portion of this project. Sorry, I'm having a scrolling issue. So I focused on the online course portion of this project. This project models living system principles in that it has 4 offerings that accommodate and transform with one another. I specifically designed this course to exhibit living systems integrity constellations as outlined by Synergetics. I've made significant progress in creating the content of this course and have begun to synergize the offering with one another with another project that I'm a part of called the Alchemy Center, which Olivia will be facilitating a keynote on Thursday. While I do not have the online course part of this project on the website yet, I have other parts of the website that are developed, such as the resource library. In a true synergy fashion, each of the spheres accompany and accommodate and relate to one another. The resource library is a repository for open source digital assets relating to synergetics, design science, and living systems, as well as biomimicry and ecology. And it provides a valuable dimension to the online course. By providing PNGs, vector graphics, text, and more for the community to share and transform, we create new opportunities for education and learning. And each of these posts has a bit of information regarding synergetics and the work that I do. So you can click on each of these offerings and get a little bit of background into the graphics or the text. And then each of these graphics is available for you to download and share however you would like. It's in the Creative Commons. I've created them all to be free of copyright for all of us to use for education purposes. So then clicking on the textbook part of the website, the online course also has a reciprocal relationship with the textbook that I'm working on. Here you can see a photo of the rough draft that I've printed of the textbook. And this textbook is a modern artistic exploration of synergetics and design science with hundreds of full color graphics. It is a complete course in synergetics that distills the 50 years of growth in the field into a physical journey of a book. This is a tremendous undertaking and has been the main focus of SENU for me over the last few years. So this is where I'm at with this project today, with so much going on behind the scenes that are being developed and curated. This is where the coming soon comes into play. This is a project, as you may suspect, that requires a lot of focus, study, and design and time for me to develop. It has been a project that I've carried alone for the majority of its life. If you or anybody that you know is interested in funding or supporting this project in any way, please have them reach out to me through my website, casey-house.com or sin-u.com. As I mentioned before, I have recently begun partnering with another project that I'm working on called the Alchemy Center, which you can see at alchemy-center.com. And Olivia will be presenting about that on Thursday in a keynote. The Alchemy Center is currently a comprehensive anticipatory design agency specializing in supporting organizations, communities, and companies who seek to bring meaning, transformation, and regeneration to humanity and the Earth systems that we're participating in. For this work, Alchemy Center will be facilitating events and discussions that onboard people into this design ecosystem. We'll be doing talks on Clubhouse, Zoom, and at some point we'll be facilitating in-person conversations and experiences for our collective harmonization. So keep track of these websites, sin-u.com, casey-house.com. And yeah, we look forward to exploring all of these principles more with you as time goes on. So if there's any time, I can answer any questions that.
Great. So this is really amazing work, Casey, truly deep and rich. It's so impressive that this has been your practice for so long. And clearly it's evident how you have integrated the living systems philosophy and framework into your process. I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about how your process might have changed over the course of your time in the Living Systems Collaboratory. Can you think of any specific moments or aspects of your work that were changed or influenced by your work with living systems?
Yeah, so, well, synergetics itself has a deep understanding of living systems and really helped to rewire my ideas of what nonlinear systems are. And that being said, our sessions that we had with Mansoor through the Living Systems Collaboratory really helped me to put it into context how a lot of these nonlinear relationships are playing out and how I can ingrain these nonlinear relationships into this course in such a way that I'm pulling from a diversity of perspectives and showing how these seemingly unrelated fields of study and practice are informing one another. So in the ways where it really lends itself to a growing dynamic network where I can interact with ecologists and gardeners or freestyle hip hop artists or architects and really operate at the fringes of what we have come to consider as evolutionary thought or regenerative living and start to build these mycelial networks, or these intangible frameworks that are already in operation, that are exhibiting the integrity of the cosmos, and how we can begin to consciously participate in those relationships. And so the Living Systems Collaboratory with Mansoor and his brilliant framing of fractality and how these nonlinear relationships work has really begun to uncover the deeper aspects of this offering and help me to frame it in a completely new, holistic way. I hope that gives a little bit of context into it.
Certainly does. Very well put. So one of the key aspects of living systems in this whole approach is this notion that there's a deep simplicity in a self-organized living system. And it's our job as participants in that environment to become more and more aware of it. And I think your project is a great example of a self-organizing living system. So I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit more about that and help us understand some ways in which the work you do evidences and surfaces this deep simplicity related to self-organizing living systems.
Yeah, so that's one thing I have not yet gotten to exhibit through this presentation, is the fact that, and this is one thing I really want to emphasize, is that this is a self-organizing education system that is pooling the information resources that are already alive in our community. So as people take this course and as they interact with this platform, they add to the information resources that are available to future students and educators, where we all become educators in this process. And there starts to be a feedback loop of the rich wisdom that is in our communities feeding the rich wisdom that is in our community. So we're all starting to have this self-referencing evolution. It is brought into simplicity through keeping the offering clear and concise through 4 spheres of offering. So I wanted to keep this as simple and visually comprehensive, to where anybody interacting with the course can have an immediate understanding of how it's quantized into very specific design parameters. So when if someone's interacting with this course, they know exactly what to expect from any of the spheres and how to onboard and how to offer their rich.
My apologies. I didn't mean to bring that in quite so soon. Go ahead, please, Rich.
It's appropriate because that's my music playing in the back there.
Exactly.
But yeah, just the rich wealth of information and resources that are laying dormant in our communities, and have them have really simplistic and clear onboarding systems that allow those rich resources to be shared with the least amount of effort. And so, that's kind of how I picture out interacting with this course and bringing the potency of our interactions to the world at large.
Great. Thank you so much for that. And for those who are just tuning in, this is one of the spotlight sessions for the Living Systems Collaboratory. We have Casey House, who is one of the collaboratory participants, wonderful designer and musician. And in addition to the work in the collaboratory itself, being presented here in these spotlight sessions, we are actually showing in separate sessions some of the experiential artifacts from the work that Casey and others have been doing. And Casey, we have a short video of an intro to your Mora project, and I wonder if you would be willing to take a couple of minutes just to introduce that, give us a brief introduction to that, and then we'll play the video.
Yeah, so a lot of this video that is going to be shared features some of the music that I've made over the years and gives a basic introduction into synergetics. It's a bit of a quick introduction. It doesn't provide the necessary tools to go deeper yet. It just gives a clear glimpse of what's to come in regards to this work, and the short glimpse of the infographics and resources that I've created regarding synergetics.
And your music as well.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Casey, for joining us today. This has been really interesting, and I know that people will be people will definitely take up on the opportunity to visit your work in Mora and follow the links that you gave us. So thanks again for your time. I'll play your video now, and we'll be back shortly with the next spotlight in the Living Systems Collaboratory. Here we go. So thanks for joining us, everyone, and look forward to seeing you in more Living Systems Collaboratory and Design Science Studio projects. Bye for now.